Drew McIntyre storms out of the Royal Rumble, but who was he mad at? A WWE star was pulled from the Rumble for Alexa Bliss's return, and we've got brand switch plans for two top WWE stars. It's time for the news. Big controversy at the end of the Royal Rumble pay-per-view as Drew McIntyre reportedly stormed out of the building. A report from PW Insider being circulated just following the premium live event saying that he pretty loudly stormed out of the building following his elimination, and he was gone from the stadium before the match even ended. His unhappiness reportedly stemmed from something going wrong with his Royal Rumble elimination, with him screaming and cursing when he got to the back that somebody had to get their moves in at the expense of a number of stories in the match. Obviously, his elimination was by Damian Priest, and it was a bit of an awkward one, which I've rewatched it now 3 or 4 times, and LA Knight and Logan Paul are doing something in the ring. Logan Paul's showboating. Yep. He's going crazy. And then LA Knight is behind him and is about to lay the smackdown on his candy ass. And then all of a sudden, Drew McIntyre sets up for his eventual elimination. What do you make of this?
I think this report that we're going to read next is bang on, because LA Knight does sort of get in the way of what is a big moment. Drew McIntyre had all these interactions with like Sami Zayn and Rollins and whoever else during the Rumble match. So to get the elimination from Damian Priest was obviously going to be a big shocking moment that nobody saw coming. LA Knight sort of backing in to the lads, because it was Drew McIntyre sort of picks up Jey Uso and then Priest follows them across the ring and then puts them all, puts Drew out and neither gets Jey as well. But LA Knight does back into them and does sort of like is undermine the right word? He doesn't make it as much of a spectacle as you think it was.
The Drew McIntyre elimination should be absolutely massive. A former world champion who was in with a chance of winning was just thrown out of the Rumble, and it didn't get the pop that it deserved. I'm going to disagree with what you're saying in that I think Drew's timing fell off. In that he was there, he was in the corner or on the rope, and he was watching what was happening. LA Knight and Logan Paul are clearly doing a pre-planned spot, and then all of a sudden, before this spot has finished, Drew McIntyre's getting set up to be thrown out.
Maybe LA Knight and Logan Paul took too much time, as I stutter here on this Monday morning.
Yeah, maybe they did. Maybe they did too much. Maybe they thought that was done. I can understand his frustration because it really didn't get a massive pop, and especially watching at home, I'm sure it'll be fixed in the edit. But watching at home, it was like, they got the Drew thing, but then they quickly cut back to Logan and LA Knight doing their thing in the ring.
Yeah, it's just that moment where LA Knight is stalking Logan Paul. It felt like maybe 5 seconds too long, but that 5 seconds in the midst of a Rumble match when the ring is that busy can feel like half an hour, I guess, when you're planning spots and getting from A to B to C to D.
Yeah. Maybe. PW Insider giving an update.
Yeah, they're saying that that is what basically happened there. That the Drew McIntyre's upset at the moment there was because it happened in a clunky manner, and it was losing the momentum that was meant to spark the Priest McIntyre story post WrestleMania. Drew McIntyre, as part of this transfer window, which was ending over Royal Rumble weekend, apparently going over to SmackDown to feud with Priest off the back of this elimination from the Royal Rumble.
That should be good. I think they've got some work to do with regard to that feud. It can be a really, really heated feud. And actually, they've got something to work off now as well, haven't they? That makes life a little bit easier. But one would believe that that's going to be a non-title match at WrestleMania. A little bit more difficult to build toward. But yeah, they've got something to play with now, haven't they?
It's an interesting one as well, because they've both been on Raw together for a while, but haven't really, for the last period of time, not really done much together. So it's weird that they're just over the blue bit and then you do stuff together now.
It feels like maybe they didn't have any plans and this has been maybe thrown together a little bit last minute. Speaking on Wrestling Observer Radio, Meltzer talking about the Drew McIntyre situation, saying even before the Drew story came out, I had heard it, and somebody goes, "Don't worry, it's a work." And then that same person came back later and just goes, "Oh God, I just figured out he was doing that because it was in front of everybody," and just said there's a guy that a lot of people were pissed at in this match with the idea that he was trying to get himself over and not the match over, and that he was doing things. It's multiple people telling me the Drew thing. He wasn't happy. It's not an angle. Obviously, there was a lot of speculation, at least initially, about the fact, is this a work? Is this a shoot? Lots and lots of reputable journalists saying that this is legit, but that's not to say that they won't build something from it.
Yeah, that's always the best story, isn't it, when it comes out of realism?
Yeah, for sure.
But also, you go back on Drew McIntyre's history, Survivor Series 2023, when CM Punk came back, there was the exact same story, that Drew McIntyre stormed out and then nothing came of it.
And that was at work, wasn't it?
Or was it? I don't know.
I think it was.
It might not have been initially, but then I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah. And what was his thinking there? Allegedly, he was annoyed at Randy's return being devalued,
something
or that they
like
weren't told that Punk was coming out.
Yeah, something like that.
One source downplaying the entire situation of PW Insider, saying that the company can always tweak things in post-production. So maybe we'll see the video on demand on Netflix look a little bit differently in the coming days, but they did acknowledge McIntyre's anger after that. WWE sources confirming to PW Insider that the company's been in contact with Drew since he stormed out after his elimination, but no further updates there. As you say, Drew heading off to SmackDown according to PW Insider. That's going to happen sooner rather than later.
Do the match with LA Knight now, after all this. It's got to happen.
I agree.
Sure.
I hadn't even thought about that. They obviously want... Do they want to do Logan and LA Knight again? Or
Potentially, yeah.
Or are they going to do... Oh, Logan had a big elimination with Punk, but he's got other stuff to do. There's lots and lots going on, isn't there?
Punk would wrestle Logan Paul at WrestleMania.
No, I don't think so
Surely he wouldn't stand for that, would he?
But the fact that he eliminated him, there's something to work with there. Yeah. Alexa Bliss returning at the Rumble, of course, getting perhaps the pop of the night, Jay aside.
I would say so, yes, indeed. The jacket was lovely as well, with the little fiend with the little R in the middle, friend forever. Fantastic.
So good to see her back. Sean Ross Sapp saying that none of the other 29 participants in that Women's Rumble match had any idea that she would be taking part as of the start of the day on Saturday. She wasn't present during Friday rehearsals. Shotzi, however, was there.
Yeah, the original plan was for Shotzi to enter the Rumble at number 21, which would have been her first main roster appearance since last year's Royal Rumble event. She has been involved in the North American title picture on NXT with her new stable, Poison X, or whatever they're called. Chemical X, that's the one.
I quite like that name.
The Goth Lasses. Up the Goth Lasses. Apparently there was no ill will harboured against Alexa Bliss amongst those who spoke to Fightful. Many were reportedly happy to see her back, but at the same time felt bad that Shotzi ended up being pulled from the match. And I guess that's how I feel as well.
No disrespect to Shotzi, but there weren't many other women in there that you would necessarily want to pull. I guess you, like...
Natalya was there?
Yeah, no, fair.
I don't want to name names, I just did.
Yeah, there were a few NXT ones that, like, Lash Legend, but she had a really good showing.
She's got a big future,
She's amazing, isn't she? She's amazing.
Jada Parker's got a big future as well. Roxanne's obviously got a big future as well.
Yeah.
Julia and Stephanie Vaquer.
Both in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just bad luck, isn't it? You can understand. But it's good to hear that there's no ill will there. This all came together very, very last minute after contractual disputes that have been reported a lot over the last few weeks. Obviously, it looked like Alexa Bliss was heading to Monday Night Raw to be doing something with the Wyatt Six. However, according to PW Insider Elite, she is going to be a part of the Raw brand still with the Wyatt Six now over on SmackDown.
But it is a little bit strange because as they plugged on the show on Saturday night, she's got a new t-shirt out. Lily the doll has a little 6 in her eye.
I was thinking about this, and because the Alexa Bliss return had been planned for a while, I reckon they just had that merch done and printed. All of that stuff would have been ready for the Rumble, wouldn't it? So I think they've just gone with that. I don't think that plays into things too much.
I never even thought of that because you're just assuming that will be a banger sales of a t-shirt. I mean,
yeah, for sure. I mean, she's done crazy views on YouTube. She's eclipsed the views of like various other big Rumble moments. I'm sure they expected her to get a big pop coming back. I don't think they expected her to get that big a pop. Like, it eclipsed everybody else's entrance pop of the night. Oh, Joe Hendry was there as well. He got a big one. But no, it was amazing. She's looking fantastic. It's great to see her back. She's had health issues. Obviously, she just had a kid and everything. I can't wait to see what she does on SmackDown.
Yeah, it's just, I guess it's Raw. More the fact that just that her last time that we saw her on WWE television maybe wasn't as good as the stuff we saw the years prior, but people remember the good old days, don't they? Because she is one of the best when she gets going.
I think her character work is the best in the women's division from anybody over the last 15 or so years.
Ariana Grace. Ariana Grace.
Okay, yeah,
fantastic scene.
Fair enough. Right, thank you very much. We have got some big stuff coming up today. There is a special Royal Rumble podcast edition of the Cultaholic Wrestling podcast, and we might be back with a little bit more news in the not too distant future as well. Thank you very much. Have a lovely day. See you in a bit.